Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. It's been a long week. I'll tell you what, guys, it really has. Everything's been good. Everything's been fun. No more health updates for Stevie. He's back. He's fucking 100% back. He was good enough for a road trip, let's just say that. And that's what we did. We ended up spending the past week in Los Angeles. It was really fun, honestly. The whole thing's kind of a blur. It was fun getting out of town, kind of breaking the pattern of being at home and getting out. But yeah, that was that's probably going to be the meat of this, is that I was out of town this past week, and it was a really, I don't even know. This trip was different. Usually when I go to LA, I stay in the heart of it. I stay in like Beverly Hills or like, Hollywood. I'll stay at like the W or fucking, Beverly Hilton. And this time we ended up staying a little outside of our comfort zone, I guess is what I'd say, in Woodland Hills. And it was funny because Christine had a shoot. That was like the main reason we were going. And like her shoot was so close to Woodland Hills. It just ended up, making sense to stay there. And it's like a part of like LA you hear about. There's really never had any reason to fucking go, to be quite frank. Like it was like my part of town was straight up like I used to live in Franklin Village. So like I was there. I had friends in Torrance. I had friends, maybe in like fucking Whittier and shit. But like I'm not driving out there all the time. Like if I don't have to, like, you just don't really, you stay in your neck of the woods, or people will come to you. If you're in like Hollywood or like central LA, people want to come to you. That's like where shit's happening. But anyways, we when did we leave? I think we left Friday afternoon. We got a little late start. Decided to take 101 and headed down. I think we left around like 2. So like traffic was kind of shitty, not like bad at first, because at 2:00 on a Friday, like people are kind of like starting to mob, but man, right around like 3:50, 4:00, when we started getting towards like Pismo Beach, the traffic it's the traffic that you'd expect, right? And usually we take 5, but we took 101 because we're like, fuck it, it'll be fun. We're not really in a rush. We were getting there the night before Christine's rehearsal. So, excuse me. We didn't really have to be there at a certain time. Let's just say that. Like our check-in, I think, was 4 or 4:30, and we kept extending it because like the traffic was bad, and like we stopped, and we weren't really in a rush, like I said. But aside from a little bit of traffic, the drive was great. We hit some of our favorite spots. Like I don't know if you guys know Chumash Pass, but like it goes over the hill into Santa Barbara. You kind of bypass a piece of 101. It's like saves a little bit of time. And anyways, we're driving there and we stopped in this town. The name of it's escaping me now, but we loved it. Like it was this quaint little fucking strip, kind of Carmel by the sea, but not really. It was like rural, almost Carmel Valley. And it was super cool. And like, we were just like, fuck, like, we kind of forget that our state has so much nice shit. It's so big and so beautiful. And like, even just a little bit down the road, like maybe even the midway point, there's this like fucking awesome town. And that's what I really noticed. I really appreciated it this time going on the drive. Is like, usually like back in the day, I feel like we were road warriors. We're like, we're going A to B. Like if we're stopping, it's a gas station, some generic fucking stop, rest stop, and then we're going to go. Like you don't really stop to smell the roses, right? And that's kind of what we did on this trip. We stopped in this town, thought, you know what, fuck, maybe on the way back we'll stop here. That didn't end up working out. I'll get to that. But yeah, it was really cool. So, and also for context, I was with my mom, Christine, and Stevie. So we were all going together, kind of like, Christine didn't want to go to LA alone. We're like, fuck it, we'll roll with you, of course. So, not only just like moral support, but like safety and shit. She's going to do a shoot with people we don't really know that well. And like, you want to make sure you see her get dropped off. You know what I mean? Anyways, so yeah, we were driving and like hit a little bit more traffic, kind of like after Santa Barbara. It started getting thick, and it's whatever. It was also getting dark early. So like I was driving, so I was like a little fatigued. I had my mom drive for a bit, but I could tell she was tired. And I was like, fuck it, just give me some coffee and I'll get us there. I'm like the fucking transporter. And that's what we did. We mobbed hard. We, what did we do? I think we ended up taking 101 to maybe 405 into whatever the fuck, Woodland Hills. And like, I think we got there around like 7:30, 7:45. Excuse me. And we, got to the hotel. We stayed at this Courtyard Marriott at the Warner Center. And it, honestly, like, it was a really nice spot. It was cool. The Warner Center, something like you hear about, but I'm like, who the fuck goes there? And it was weird. We were there for like, like 6 nights or like 5 nights, maybe 4 days. I can't remember. Maybe 6 days, 4 nights. It doesn't matter. But anyways, we were there for a minute. And yeah, it was just interesting being at this like kind of like business complex, these like big, tall buildings. You can look it up. Google like Warner Center. It's an interesting spot. But anyways, yeah, we were kind of like, we get there, check in. Christine wants to like prepare for the rehearsal the next day, just keep working, shower, whatever. And we were all like famished. We're like, fuck it. Like, if you want to stay here, go for it. My mom, Stevie, and I were like, we're going to go get food. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So we decided to like cruise town. We go to Chipotle because Stevie's been on like a Chipotle kick and he's just like, fuck it, Chipotle. And we're like, all right, we're in, it's something easy. Go to Chipotle and like right after we're waiting in line for like 2 minutes, like the guy yells out like, hey, we're out of guacamole. And like half the line leaves, including us. We're like, fuck them. So we drive to the other Chipotle and literally like, these were the busiest Chipotles. It was Friday night. So yeah, maybe it was like warranted, but like fucking just jam packed. I guess that's LA for you. That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right. So we're getting hangry at this point and we're all like, where the fuck do we go? We just got here and like, we didn't know Woodland Hills at all, which like we got to fucking know it over the course of these few days. But when you're in a new town, you don't know where to go. You're like fucking hangry. You're like at each other's throats. You're like, where are we going to go? We see this El Torito. We're like, you know what? Fuck it. El Torito. At least it's Mexican food. That's our spot. So we pull into El Torito, go inside, and like it was pretty nice. Like for what it's worth, it was like a very like well-produced restaurant. It had the theme, loud like Spanish style music, very vibey. It was really like, honestly, it was good. It was like, I haven't been like, here's the deal. I don't really go out to restaurants. I cook most of my food at home these days. Like I go to restaurants, of course, but like I'm not patronizing them on the reg. Like I'll go with Stevie to get Chipotle, but usually like I eat like try to eat clean, like fucking steak or chicken at home, eggs, whatever, like really like whole foods, pure shit. And going to a restaurant, like being like in like that setting again, like more of like, I wouldn't even call it a chain. I think it is a chain, but it was like a very like, I'd say upscale chain, like definitely nicer than like the average, like isn't no fucking Applebee's, right? This thing was nice. But anyways, going there and like having like the whole show, I mean, like we sit down, drinks, whatever. We had the angriest waiter ever. I don't know. He had something else on his mind, but I like literally told everyone like, let's just deal with it. Like this guy did not want to fucking be there. And I just like, fuck, he was slow, but we were like, fuck it. Let's just not let it bother us. Let's just make the best of it. Like we weren't in the mood to complain. Right. And we were also like, we're in a rush. We're like, fuck it. We're here. What else do we have to do? We're not like, hey dude, like hurry up. No. So anyways, we're sitting there and like within 5 minutes of being there, there's a happy birthday, including our waiter went over and like sang a happy birthday, like kind of like half in Spanish and then half in English at the end. They bring out, I don't know, like a fucking ice cream or something with a candle in it, right? Typical like kind of restaurant freebie you can get. And like I could just see our waiter. I was like, dude, this guy is like, the last thing this motherfucker wants to do is sing happy birthday to like these kids or this lady. I could just see it in his eyes. He was, he did not want to be doing this. And this guy's probably like, say like mid 50s, late 50s, a lot of attitude, whatever. And I'm not trying to bag on the guy. Like, I don't know what was going on with his day, but it was just funny because like I found it more comical than like offensive in this case. So anyways, I saw him doing it. I'm like, oh brother, like I know this is the last thing you want to do. So we're sitting there, we're ordering appetizers, and my mom's like, hey, like, you know what, can we get guacamole? And he's like, sure. It's been like 10, 15 minutes. We've already gone through all like the first basket of chips, the salsa that they bring, like the house salsa. He finally comes back, like maybe 10 minutes later with our drinks. And then like around the 15-minute mark, he comes back with like this bowl. If you've been to El Torito, maybe you know this about their guacamole, but I certainly didn't. He comes back and he's like, how hot do you want it? He's got this little like fucking tray. It's all set up. And we're like, how hot do we want it? He's like, yeah, for the guacamole. And my mom's like got like a weak mouth for like heat. So we were like, I'd go hot if I could. But like, she's like, oh, like mild or like just regular. And he's like, okay. This guy fucking like cuts the avocados, peels them, throws them in, takes 2 forks and he just whips this motherfucker up. It was honestly incredible. Like I'd never seen someone just make guacamole like that. So maybe I'm naive or ignorant or inexperienced with my guacamole exposure, if you want to call it that. But it was pretty impressive. Like, an angry man whipped these fucking avocados into an amazing guacamole. And I'm glad he was in a bad mood because the shit was perfect. And anyways, he serves it, puts it down, he put on a little show for us and like, he did bare minimum. He wanted to just, get it done. But it was kind of funny because I didn't realize he is going to have to like actually make it. It just kind of like, I don't know, the whole thing was like comical in my opinion. It was just funny watching him just pissed off, sing this song, Happy Birthday, and they come and have to do the guacamole thing. Because unbeknownst to us, it's like a performance thing. Like he's going to have to like put on a little show, of like Benihana's or some shit. When you go to like a Sapporo's and they're fucking tossing shrimp in their hat. Like those guys are usually pretty enthusiastic. I think it'd be hard to be like a fucking, what do they call those fucking chefs? Like I'm skipping my mind right now, but one of those chefs and fucking doing all the tricks. It's the same thing as the guacamole here, But anyways, I digress. End up getting the food. It's funny, like when he came to ordering, they only had like shredded chicken burritos. My mom got like enchiladas or fajitas, right? Stevie and I, though, we're burrito guys. And we're like, oh yeah, like, hey, can we just get a burrito? And he's like, it's only like a wet burrito, like covered in sauce. And it's only shredded chicken. And I'll say this, like, no disrespect to shredded chicken, but it's fucking just a tough eat. Like even in the burrito, I've been to like even this place, man, Wells and like Aptos, and like it's good, but like their chicken burrito is only shredded, and it's just like it's a turnoff for me. I don't know if you guys feel like that. For me, it's a turnoff. So like we both like looked at each other like, fuck, we can't even get like a just regular burrito that you can just fucking hold and eat, right? So yeah, we end up getting cheeseburgers at a fucking Mexican restaurant. And, you know, he asked us how we wanted them. I was like, medium rare. Stevie's like, medium well. They come out 10, 15 minutes later, maybe even fucking 20 minutes later. They're cooked like to the fucking bone. Like not completely dry, like juicy, but like fucking cooked. And I laughed. It's like, you know, I see that meme of like Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos. And he's literally like this Chrissy meme. And he's like, it says like, fucking, when you ask them how they want it, when you're about to cook all these burgers the exact same way. That's what like, I felt like when my waiter asked, he's just like, okay, like, how do you want it? Like, it's going to come out after you cook it. This guy doesn't give a fuck. And anyways, it was funny. It came out, for how cooked it was for my taste, it was actually pretty good. It was like not even dry. It was just like a juicy, well done burger, which, you know, for what it's worth, it was a good burger from like a Mexican food joint. I don't usually like even like I always see that on every Mexican food restaurant like menu. There's like always, I always think it's for like kids, you know, like in case your kid hasn't had like an acquired taste for like Mexican food, this is the option, right? Little fucking burger and fries. And anyways, it was just really funny. We ended up settling up with the guy at the end of the night and like we tipped him, you know, it was a funny experience, you know, and it was actually pretty good. El Torito was a great experience actually. For like how often I go to those types of restaurants, this was actually a good one, you know, to actually like go out and have fun. And anyways, that was our first experience in Woodland Hills. And we head back to the hotel and we kind of had that restless energy you have when you're hanging out with your friends, like, or like a camp out vibe, like almost like summer camp vibe. We got to the hotel, everybody was a little restless. We were all talking. Christine was talking about the next day. We were kind of figuring out where we were going to drop her off. We actually drove by where we were going to drop her off and talked for a bit, and then we were all pretty worn out from the drive. I want to say the first night we didn't really drive around and explore that much, but yeah. So in the morning, we ended up dropping Christine off at this like street where there's gonna like be a shuttle for like the shoot, and the director was there, and we talked with her for a bit. She's super cool. Got to know a little bit more about like her vision for like how it was gonna be during the next few days. And then her car was just filled with gear, and the other male actor that was coming was gonna ride with her, and we offered for Christine, we're like, hey, like, if you want, we can just follow you to like the house you guys are staying at, and maybe like probably 20 minutes away. And she's like, that'd be great because like it's gonna be super like packed. So she's like, cool, like you guys follow me, we'll drop Christine off. And also it was like good to just know exactly where she was going, because if she had not told us and she's like, hey, come pick me up, we never would have found this place. It was cool. So we're in this like suburb neighborhood of Woodland Hills. That was like the meet point for everyone. And then we ended up driving up Topanga Canyon Boulevard, way up into the canyon, or maybe it's Topanga Canyon Road, rather. We drive way up into the canyon, deep into this motherfucker. And what was it called? Topanga Canyon, right? But I'm trying to compare it to something. It was kind of like, I used the example of like Carmel Valley earlier, but this was like a little bit more, yeah, it was kind of like almost like Santa Cruz meets Big Sur. It had more like hippie-esque vibes. Very cool, very chill. I literally joked. I said, this is like Manson family vibes. And like Stevie was Googling, like it said like Old Topanga Canyon had like fucking like, that was one of his like first places that he like posted up. I'm like, that makes sense. Cause like the vibe out there immediately was more like hippie vibes, like, you know, classic. Had that Santa Cruz vibe, had the Big Sur vibe. And we ended up just hanging out, riding, cruising, kind of observing, following the director. And as we're driving, it's just like a windy road. It was really cool. Like it was a great drive out there and it was beautiful. It reminded me a lot of home is what I think I'm getting at. Winding roads. And then eventually there's just like kind of a right turn. It goes up and the roads got really tight. It reminded me of like the Hollywood Hills, like tight, a lot of houses like jetting out on the sides, houses that were built on a hillside, like hillside homes, like quite literally the Hollywood Hills or something. And anyways, drove up and I guess the house was like a friend of the director's house. And yeah, he had it and was like, hey, like you can just use this for the shoot. You can stage it, film. You can have the crew and the cast, as many people that could fit, they can stay there. Very limited parking. So we pull up. This is Saturday morning, right? Let Christine out, give her stuff. And we kind of sent her off. She was with the director and the other actor to do like their main rehearsals. And it was kind of funny. It was like dropping our kid off at school. We were like, all right, we'll see you next week, or like summer camp. We're like, we'll see you next week, honey. Like, and she got all of her shit and we kind of waved and it was like, all right, there she goes, you know? And as we drive down the hill, we're like, all right, fuck it. Let's just check out Topanga Canyon. Let's see what's up here. Go down this little spot. It was called like Mimosa Cafe. We all had to use the bathroom. We were fucking unexpectedly far trip, right? So we're like, all right, we'll go to this cafe. We'll use the restroom, buy some coffee. And Mimosa Cafe, if you're out in Topanga Canyon, this place was pretty damn good for what it's worth. And, you know, it's a good stop. Like if you're going to be driving through there, that's the spot. Like there's other spots. There's like some other like Club 27 or some shit like that. I compared to like the Toro Place Cafe of like Highway 68 to LA's Topanga Canyon style, like roadside grill restaurant. Totally packed, cars everywhere. So I was like, I want the low key spot, Mimosa Cafe. And they made great coffee, really nice people. 10 out of 10, 5 stars, whatever you want to say. Really good. Hung out there for a minute, kind of chilled. A lot of signs. It was funny too when we were in Topanga Canyon. There was all these signs for like bears. Like it said like, it was a picture of like a mama bear and then 2 cubs. And it's like, watch out for like the baby bears and like the mom. And like some guy there was just chilling by this, like, it looked like a very like mediocre koi pond just filled up with like fucking goldfish. And this dude was just like talking to us about the bears. Like he's like, oh yeah, he's like, you know, the bears. And I was like, he was kind of casually. It was while we were using the restroom. He's like, kind of like, hey, what are you guys doing here? You know, and the bears came up and I was like, it's funny. Like I just saw all these bear signs and he's like, oh yeah, like it's like a big deal. And I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Like black bears there's only 3 of them is like what the guy was saying. And I'm like, bro, like there's gotta be like fucking way more than 3 fucking bears rolling around these hills. We're deep out here. Anyways, it was random, but funny. Hit the road. We're back in Woodland Hills for the rest of the day. And yeah, it was kind of a blur. It was funny. Like the trip, as much as I thought we were going to do, because when you stay in Hollywood or you stay in Beverly Hills or whatever, fucking, you know, West LA, you're going to find shit to do. There's just shit going on. There's places to go. You can kind of just do more, right? We were like really noticing how like small Woodland Hills was. It was not that, it did not feel like LA. I called it LA Light or like the LA demo version. It was removed, right? You didn't have the full fucking expansion pack on this one. And it was nice. You know, I remember what we did. We got back, hung out. We ended up going to the Westfield, Topanga Westfield, and we walked around the mall. It's always good to go to a mall. It's kind of like, all right, the mall is pretty centrally located in the town. So we go there. I think Stevie and my mom got Chipotle. I was just trying to like fucking wait till dinner. I didn't know what we were going to do. I wasn't that hungry. I was like, all right, I'll wait. Walked around the mall, ended up going to the Target there, kind of stocking up on some shit for the room. And we ended up back at the hotel. But yeah, it was funny. The trip was kind of like a break. Like I was like, all right, like I've been working nonstop. I got a little cabin fever from just being in the house. And the trip was like kind of a reset, if I can say that. Like, you know, I was at the hotel and I was kind of like, what do I do with myself? Like I was aimless. I was restless. Like what? I can't make a podcast. And I brought my laptop and equipment and shit, even my film equipment, podcast equipment. I brought everything. Didn't use it once. I used my laptop one time to change something. But I was just like, fuck, like, you know, it was nice to have a break from the aggressive pattern of like creating and trying to push forward constantly. And I look, you know, you hear me on Unscripted. I'm like, just do it, take action, fucking move forward. But like everyone needs to take a fucking moment and just be like, all right, let me reassess. And that's what this trip was. It was really like it was a pause. It was a reset, you know, it was really nice. And over the course of the few days, we did a lot of shit. You know, we explored Woodland Hills. We went to open houses. Stevie and I went to this beautiful fucking open house. It was like a $4 or $5 million house in this really nice neighborhood. And you know what? Like, I know it's $4 or $5 million, but I'm like, you know, like it didn't feel that crazy. And I'm not saying like I've got it, but like, you know, it's just not that crazy. It's just like, you know, this is like, look how many people do have this. And like, look at the opportunity here is what I really saw. And it was really cool. And we drove through so many neighborhoods. Hey, look, we drove through every nook and cranny of fucking Woodland Hills. We drove from Woodland Hills to Canoga Park to Chatsworth, Bell Canyon, all the way back. We got as far as Spawn Ranch. Like, we were way the fuck out there. And we went through Calabasas, as close as you get to Hidden Hills without fucking the, you know, gated communities. We drove all over that bitch. And like, we really learned a town. And I think Stevie told me the population was only 70K, which is crazy. 70,000 people. Even like Selena's got to be like 200,000 or 300,000. It is busy as fuck here. I noticed how like the streets were empty at night. It was very mellow, very chill. Not the LA experience I've ever experienced. And I don't know, there was something very nice about it. We felt very at home. We could really see ourselves like living there. And it was exciting, you know? So that was kind of like what we did when we were in Woodland Hills. A lot of shit happened over the course of the trip, but while we were in Woodland Hills, we really chilled. We drove around, went to this Blue Bottle like 3 or 4 days in a row. Great staff, really cool people. They were just super nice, like friendly. Everyone was so friendly and nice too. And like everybody wanted to talk. And like, I don't know, I just feel like my area, people are a little bit more standoffish. Like there's nice people and there's good folks, but like generally it's just not the same energy. People were really nice there. And it was like, I don't know, it was like very old school. I don't even know how to explain it. Old school, but modern. And a little bit more amenity driven too. Like, our area is definitely underserved in the sense of like the types of businesses or like from shopping, retail, maybe even like different brands and shit or like franchises, which is nice, And it sounds probably rhetorical to somebody who lives in a more major city, but for like me, it's been a minute since I've lived in LA, and seeing it now, and especially this part of LA, I was like, you don't know what you don't know, but like, I was like, I don't know. I know I'm missing out on some of this shit. So it was definitely enticing. It really made us want to go back down. We didn't really hear from Christine the whole time she was shooting. So like we hear from her at night, right? And I get it. Like they were shooting like real scheduled all day long, big crew, nonstop, right? So while she was shooting, we had nothing else really going on. Like as much shit as, like I said, we thought we were going to do, like film and fucking do all the shit. We did film some stuff and like hang out, but like we ended up trying to entertain ourselves. So like, I think day 2 or 3, we got a little like, we've seen Woodland Hills. So we decided to drive to Malibu, right? And like the whole time, by the way, the weather was incredible. It was like high 80s, like low 90s, all day long into the night. Really nice. Never too hot, but like definitely like felt like fucking summer. It was amazing. I was like, there's no way this is November. This is the California Christmas that people talk about, like stereotype, like sunshine and fucking, I don't know, good vibes. So anyways, we ended up driving down to Malibu. We drove through Topanga Canyon to like Malibu, not Malibu, down towards like the bottom of Topanga, right? And that kind of lets you out like, I think it's Castellamare. And we were like, you know what? Like Castellamare is right next to the Palisades. Like, why don't we go check it out and see like, firsthand, like what happened in the Palisades? And like, it wasn't for like the novelty so much as like the curiosity. I want to make that clear. Cause it's like, I don't want to like, oh, let's go look at the disaster. That's not the intention. I want to like, I just want to, with context, let you guys know, like, I wasn't going to be like, oh, this is so cool. Let's go check out the Palisades. Like, absolutely not. It was like with the intention, like, yeah, like I would like to see that. It's something I saw like heavily televised. Something that was like, it was a big event that like, it wasn't that long ago. This shit just happened this year, and like months feel like long periods of time these days. Maybe like they go quick, but like time feels a little bit more disposable, I guess, as we get older, or like in the generation or time we're living in right now. So like, don't forget, like less than a year ago, the fucking Palisades burned down. Anyways, we go and we drive in, and like immediately we get to the top of the hill, and like it was devastating, dude. Nothing there. Just every fucking house burned down. For like, as far as the eye could pretty much see. There was like 1 or 2 fucking houses in like the distance you could see, but like and like there was like some neighborhoods that weren't burned down, but like we pull up and like Stevie and my mom were like, just like, oh my God, like this is fucking awful. And like, I agree, like there's just nothing but bricks left, like nothing left, dude. People's entire home gone. I just, again, like I was speechless. I really had nothing to say. Like I just drove around. I was the driver too. And I was just looking around like, God, like this is really sad. It was just sad. There's nothing you can really say other than fuck, like, it was a natural disaster, but it does, like, the thing that gets me, and maybe this is because I just watched that Lost Bus, the Paradise Fire, and all this California fire shit, but like, how could they let this happen? It wasn't like 1 or 2 fucking houses burned down. Like, dude, I'm telling you, it looked like when a neighborhood's being built, like when they're like planning it out and they're like, hey, here's the foundation for this house. Straight up, like it looked like a fucking construction site. And there was tons of people rebuilding, which was good to see. But it was sad because most of these fucking lots had for sale signs out of them, which means somebody's just like, hey, like there's no fucking way I can spend $1 million or 500 grand, whatever it is in materials, to rebuild my $4 or $5 million house or $3 or $4 million house, whatever it is. I mean, they look like nice houses. It's prime land. Like I'm, for what it's worth, I think these people had money, but that doesn't mean they can just drop fucking millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars at the drop of a hat to rebuild, right? And you could tell it was just devastating. And like a lot of people probably lost their like history, their, maybe their personal culture, their family's identity that was tied to these homes. It's really sad to think about that. Like literally erased by fire. And we even drove by the school, and the school was gone. There was like portable setup. There was kids still like, literally saw a kid walking with their backpack like across the street. I'm like, where are you going to go? Like you going home? Like, and it was sad. It's like, what a devastating thing to happen. And anyways, we really like, it opened my eyes to like how bad it was. Like, and I knew it was bad, but like, I don't know. I think people shouldn't forget. And I've heard some controversy about like a lot of the donated money, like where has it gone for the Palisades victims? And like, really what it made me think of is like, if you're going to give money to somebody or help somebody, find one of these people directly. Find their fucking like personal GoFundMe link and like, I don't know, tap into that. Like there's probably great big charities, but like, I don't know, if I saw somebody there, I'd rather put the money in their hand and be like, hey, like, sorry that you lost your fucking home. anyways, it was really tough to see. And as we drove down the hill, it was like, it was kind of like, wow, like it makes you appreciate, like, I mean, I was in the river fire and like, it was not nearly as bad, but like the fire got close to my house, but like, I never thought I trusted the fire department. I trusted the system. Like, there's no way they're going to let my house burn down. Like, I trusted it and it didn't. They did their job, but like, I don't know. And I'm not blaming firefighters, like saying, oh, I didn't trust them with the Palisades, but like, there was a lot of something was going on with that shit. Like, no water in the fucking fire hydrants. Like, I don't know. They got to do better at least. Not the fire department particularly, but like who's ever in charge of like that was wrong. It was completely unjust. That should have never happened down there in the Palisades. But anyways, we leave the Palisades and we start driving up towards Malibu. And, even as we got closer to Malibu on the hillside, you'd see just burned houses. And what really got me is that like beachfront homes, like on the like, here's the highway, here's the mountainside, here's the coastline, right? There's all the beachfront fucking mansions or like modern pads. Just 10 in a row gone. Like 10 in a row burned away. And I'm like, these 10 got burnt here, but there's a hotel across the street. Like, how did this, was it just hot ashes falling from the fucking fire onto these homes and burning them down? I don't know. Lots of questions, I guess, when I was driving. Like, what really happened? Like, not even what really happened, but like, how could this have happened? And like, some people got lucky, I guess, because there's houses right next door that wouldn't have been like completely burned away, or like a house would be charred with flame, like, black flame like marks from like the burns. And yeah, I don't know. It was just very strange. It was very surreal, I guess, to see all this damage in such a like beautiful, notable place. And yeah, we keep driving down. It got a little less worse the further up we got into Malibu, but yeah, it was really shocking to see how the fire is still like, the damage remains. The Malibu and Palisades, that area is still not healed completely. So anyways, we head up towards Malibu. We end up stopping at this like Malibu shopping center. It was basically, I kept saying it's like Carmel by the Sea Part 2, which was really cool. And I loved it. It was funny. We like, stopped here, got some coffee, hung out, just really like, we just took it easy, like really like true, like touristy. We're like, hey, like, let's just enjoy it. Hung out there, cruised around. And on the way back, we decided like, instead of going back through Topanga, because Topanga had construction going on, we're like, you know what, fuck it. Let's take Malibu Canyon back, right? So we ended up going up the hill and there was a little bit of traffic. I think it was like 3 or 4. And we were like, it says it's only like 25 minutes back this way too, like Woodland Hills. We're like, all right. So we take to Malibu Canyon to this street. I think it was called Piuma to Cold Canyon, and then Cold Canyon to like Mulholland Freeway or Mulholland Way. I think maybe Drive, but I don't think it was Drive. Anyways, this Cold Canyon was super cool. Like, I can't remember the name of the neighborhood. It was called Monte Nido, but like, it just literally reminded me of like Highway 68 or like Carmel Valley or Corral de Terra. And immediately I was just like, fuck, like this is where I would live here. Like, it's funny, like, you want to move away from your hometown to live in a place that looks like it, to some extent. But I don't know, it was like kind of country-esque, but still had this like, it was nothing, it just didn't feel like LA. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I didn't feel like these Malibu, Calabasas line. And look, I get these are bougie spots. Like, I know that. And I know it sounds like a little privilege to be saying like, hey, that's where I'd want to be. But like, sincerely, yes, like that's where I'd like to be. And where I'd see myself in this like nice, like kind of like country estate. And it was just driving through there. I felt super connected to this area. This whole portion in between Malibu and Woodland Hills and like the back end of Calabasas, that is like, that to me, I was like, that's where I want to move if I move here. Woodland Hills is great too. I know Stevie and Christina are rooting for Woodland Hills, but I don't know. I could see myself as like a Malibu guy, I guess. I really connected with the area, and I guess I got that like, champagne caviar taste with life, but fuck, you like what you like. And I thought that was, really nice. And I don't know if I had to like rent or buy, like I was looking on Zillow. I was like, yeah, this is the spot I would go to. And it's like, what's funny is when you come out of the bottom of Topanga Canyon, you literally look to the left and you can see Santa Monica. It's the area, like I said this on the last pod I talked about LA, like LA felt super small the last time I was there. And that's exactly how I felt this time. I was like, God damn, like, I feel like every time I come here, the city gets smaller and smaller. And yeah, so living out in Malibu or Cold Canyon or off Piuma, any of these fucking places, I think I could handle it and make it work even with like, film business and shit, like just being accessible to the city. It's just not that far away. And that's something I've been starting to notice. A lot of like people like living in the city is fine. But like, fuck, it is like stressful. It's the hustle and bustle. Like, I don't know. I sometimes the people push their way out and like, I get the hills vibes now and all that. Anyways, going out to Malibu, we went out like 2 or 3 times. It was close. It was just like we'd drive there, get coffee, hang out, look at the beach, whatever. On the last day that we were there, Christine actually filmed her final scene at like, I think it was Malibu Pier. There's also this place called Malibu Farm, this restaurant. Stevie's like, we got to eat here. And it happened to be where Christine was shooting. It was like unplanned. We were like, oh shit. Like, yeah, we knew they were going to shoot at a beach. We didn't know it was going to be this fucking beach, which we went there to eat at this restaurant. And like Stevie had her like location on. I was like, oh shit. Like they're in this vicinity. Right. And we didn't get to the restaurant. The line was fucking crazy. It was like a 2-hour wait. It's like, yeah, we're good. And we fucking Chipotle apparently. Right. And we ended up kind of like dipping out from there. But yeah, Christine said shooting at the beach was crazy. She had got in the water and did some pretty cool shit. You know, it's funny. Like we didn't talk to her until the last day, which like, I guess, you know, Malibu was like kind of like she was there at the same time as us. And then like she went back to the house to like finish. They were doing like car scenes or something, like a driving scene. So they were back in Topanga Canyon and we like drove back our Malibu Canyon way to Woodland Hills. Also on the last day we checked out at 1. So we checked out at 1, drove to Malibu, drove back to Woodland Hills. And then like 4 or 5 o'clock, we were supposed to pick Christine up and then like they were still like working. And then around like 6:30, I think it was 6:30. Ended up driving back up to the house she was at, and that's when we caught up with her and the director, which would be last night. I mean, it's been a blur. But yeah, like we didn't really talk to her that much, like other than like Stevie and her were talking at night. We get the update from him, and it's just funny because when we got there, like, you know, we heard about the whole weekend, we heard about the whole shoot, and it's like, God, I can't believe they got like all this shit done in like, you know, these like 4 days of like shooting, like long 4 days of shooting. And yeah, it was actually kind of weird because we hadn't seen Christine at all. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like we hadn't gotten an update and like we were kind of like doing our own thing the whole time. And like when we finally heard from her, it was weird because like I never read the script for this thing. I'd heard them rehearse it a bit, like Stevie and Christine, but I never read it. Hearing them talk about the scenes, it got like bits and pieces. I'm still not even sure. Like I know like the gist of it, and I won't ruin any spoilers here for like the sake of the artist and everyone involved. I don't want to disclose their plot, but yeah, it was very funny. It was very funny to hear. Just like, you know, their thoughts on it and like their hot takes. And it, like, if anything, like, look, we talked with the director for a bit. Whenever you're around like a shoot or a set, like you get the fucking, like, you get the energy and the bug and you're like, I just want to keep doing this. You don't want it to end. It's like a high, right? And I kind of talked about the Peninsula Nights. Like when we finished it, like everyone left on a high and like putting the movie out. It's just like a high that lasts a long time. And Christine going back down here, she even said it like as we were like leaving, she's like, I just want to get back down here. The high of like creating and networking and like doing this film shit is there. And like, you know, it's funny. She even talked about like people came to set to visit, right? And like, she said one of the guys that came was like the writer of the Bridgerton spinoff. He's like good friends with the director. And like, it's like, cool. Like that's why you go down to these locations. Like, okay, well, you're going to meet that guy. You know, he's writing like a Netflix fucking show. She met the guy who wrote Dallas Buyers Club. You know, this guy was nominated for an Oscar. I think the movie got nominated as well for Best Picture. Matthew might have won the statue for Dallas Buyers. I can't remember, but besides the point, you know, the guy's humble as pie. She's like, I didn't know who the fuck he was, but he was super cool and they ended up connecting and like, that's, you know, half the battle. And then she's like, oh, like we ended up becoming friends, you know? So you don't know who you're going to meet. The opportunity down there is clearly abundant. And that's really what this game's about. Not even this game. Like that's what the business is about. It's about, in particular being in LA or like a hub like New York, Chicago, whatever. I think it's about the network. You need to be around other people doing what you're doing because everyone's going to be a collaborator of yours if you let them or if you want them to be. And if they're not a collaborator, you're going to make friends. And like, I always say this, like high tides raise all ships, right? That's what you need to do. Everyone needs to work together, play together, get to know each other. And it's not a competition. Like, sure, there's awards and all that bullshit, but like, it's about making good shit. It's about making art, making movies. And you can't do it alone. You got to have people. It takes a village, dude. Sure, you can do like the low budget indie shit like I'm talking about, like, you know, my micro budget or whatever. And sometimes larger budget, but you know, you got to work with other people, play nice, and just, you know, get to know other people in the business. And this was really important, I feel like, for us, like going on the trip and also for Christine, because like, you know, she met people that are like going to help her open doors and like maybe more opportunity in the future, more castings. Even the actor she worked with was like, hey, like, dude, like he gave her advice and like he'd been on like some TV and stuff and was just saying like, hey, like just get down here because like you're good. And if you're just fucking out grinding, like kind of the acting thing, like he's like, just do all the things, do everything, like, and trust it. If it's good, it's good, you know, be like vet and be careful, obviously. But really just, I think the encouragement she got from these people and like where they're at in the business. Like, I'm not going to say anybody like notable that was involved, but like, yeah, like the shit that like the producer even on this was somebody who was like kind of notable. And it's like good. It's like, that's what you want when you want to get closer to your dream or like the business and like working in this field. You don't want to sell yourself short by like not having access to these people, I guess isn't the right word, but like putting yourself around the right people. Environment, dude. It's such a big part of everything in life. Like if you want to be, I don't know, a fucking soldier, join the army. You're not going to do it on your own. You got to kind of flock to your own. And like Hollywood and the extended area, like the GTA greater or whatever, the GLA, the greater Los Angeles area, it's fucking filled with people that want to do the same thing. So if you fucking are there, you're going to fucking meet people doing the same shit as you. Simple as that. So yeah. And I also think for us, like as filmmakers, like Stevie and I, even like, actor, director, writer, Christine acting, writing, doing her own thing too. It's the place to be, clearly. And we've been telling ourselves this for a long time, but like she really felt it this time. And like I've always advocated for it since I've lived in LA, and I've always been like, hey, like maybe going back down would be like the best thing for us to do. We have benefited greatly from like shooting independent films in our area because there's so much resource and there's so many people that are friends. But like, even if we're in LA, like it's just going to open up the doors because producers that like we want to work with that have like a little bit more, I'd say like connection with people, like legitimate casting directors or like really good crews, etc. Like LA's the hub, quite frankly. And yeah, Christine said the shoot was extremely pro, like really aggressive. That was her thing too. She said like, it's not so much about like, oh, the way it was made, but that she's not used to the way it's being made. And she's like, I need to be exposed to that more often as an actress. So like, if I was getting a bigger role, I'm prepared for that because we shot like Peninsula Nights. I said it many times, 8 months shoot. We did shoot at our own pace. There'd be some nights we'd shoot 2 hours, go home. And then there's some nights we'd shoot all fucking night, 6 hours. It was inconsistent in the sense of like our scheduling, but we played it at our own pace and we made something really great doing it our way. But, somebody who's investing like a lot of cash for a short shoot, they want to make sure they get their days and they got a lot of pressure on the line. So that was something she said from her point of view. She's like, well, I want to be more exposed to that so I can better be prepared for that in the future. What else did we do? I kind of said it all here. Love Malibu, love driving through that canyon. Love being in Woodland Hills. We walked around that Warner Center a million times. Drove around Woodland Hills a million times. Stevie and I had some great talks, great drives. We used to do a lot of night drives, and over the past year, we haven't been able to really do it because of his health. And now that he's back, we're able to just fucking go and cruise and kind of like old times. We kind of talk and just, I don't like to use the word manifest as much as dream because like we do dream. We talk about, hey, like this is like, it just didn't seem far away. I guess we were manifesting. We were just saying like, hey, like, we could probably have all this shit or do whatever we want to do, and like right now we got that LA calling, I guess is what I'd say. And, we're kind of just following our heart. That sounds ridiculous. Also, I am a little tired. I apologize if my energy is low today. I got home at like 2:30 maybe after drinking cold brew like all fucking day long, like fucking a madman. I was just cracked out on caffeine driving home. Because when we picked Christina up at like 8 was when we left, 8:15. Drove all the way down to Topanga Canyon, out 405 to 5 or 101 to 5, and then fucking drove all the way home, dropped my fucking mom off at her house, drove back to our house. Then like we talked, we just obviously when you get home, you can't help. You got this restless traveler's energy. Stayed up till like 4 in the fucking morning. Stevie was sending me messages on Instagram. Like it's not just me. And yeah, we kind of just like had this, like, I wouldn't even call it an epiphany. It was more of just like a obvious realization that like, maybe we've outgrown what we've had here and what we've done. And like, it's time to take the next step. And, that doesn't mean we're moving there overnight. This means, I think the 2026 plan is probably get back to fucking LA because the opportunity's there. There's more people to meet. Also, like, for me, like even directing projects, it's like, I'd love to use Christine and Stevie every single time. And like, even if I was making a movie and they weren't the main characters, they'd probably end up in it, right? But Stevie and I have even talked about it's like, hey, like it's not bad. Like you have so many scripts and so many ideas. Like there might be something that he's like, I don't think I'm the right person for. Well, then I can just go out and cast somebody. And I have friends, actresses already in LA, but there's more people to meet, more opportunity, right? And it's only, when you, it's like a contact sport. You work with everybody, get your name out there, it gets their name out there. It's mutually beneficial. It's pretty simple, and the path right now seems very obvious. Like I said, it's right there. It's just taking the leap of faith, and getting back down. But anyways, yeah, LA was a great trip. It was a little tiring. I needed the break. I needed a little time off to like let my brain reset. Like, a lot of the time I'm like coming into my studio out here, going back and forth from the house, taking walks, drinking coffee. I have like a routine here, and it was good to break the routine. Like, you got to sometimes step away for a minute so you can come back and appreciate not only what you have, but feel like, oh, I missed it a little bit. And I did. I missed my location, like being able to do the pod even earlier this week. I know I made a post on IG saying like, oh, like I'm going to try and do it while I was there. And I was like, no, like I can't do this podcast in a hotel room and like phone it in, not even phone it in. That's not the right word. It just didn't feel like it was going to be, optimal. And yeah, I don't know. It's good to be back. Good to be back in the studio here. Yeah, on that note, I did watch some movies this week. I'll keep it light on the movie talk just because these ones are pretty classic. So yeah, when we were chilling, before we left, Christina had never seen The Hangover. I threw it on casually the other day. It's been on Netflix, and she was like, oh my God, this movie's so funny. This is that Hangover movie, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, I've just never really seen it. And I was like, you've never seen The Hangover? Like, this is like a fucking quintessential 2000s comedy. I was like, we got to watch it. So we restart it. She just sits down top to bottom. Man, this movie is just 2009, The fucking Hangover. I don't have any notes on this here, but I believe Todd Phillips, the same Joker of the director, old school, Starsky and Hutch. The guy makes bangers. He's just a great fucking director. He directed it. I think he may have wrote and directed, but stars Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, that one guy from National Treasure. I can't remember his name. And Zach Galifianakis, right? And dude, it's laugh out loud funny. It was back when comedy was dangerous and unafraid and unrelenting, unhinged, one may say. People weren't afraid to be maybe politically incorrect, to be quite frank. People just didn't care. And it was offensive in the most funny and honest and unoffensive way, if that makes sense. And, it's funny to watch. Like a movie like The Hangover, it was so popular and it was so big, and it spawned, obviously, multiple sequels. But, dude, it's just because it simply was good. That is what I can say is, like, I was laughing out loud. The scenes were great. The plot was good. It was unpredictable. There was great twists. Kept you guessing. It's like the movie challenged the audience. It did not spoon feed the audience. It said like, hey, buckle up. And it's funny. We were watching this movie and I remember the scene on the roof when they like take the shots of Jaeger and they're about to go out and it just pans up and it just does like the time lapse. I told Christine the first time I saw this movie, I was pissed. I'm like, oh, we're not going to see the party. I was like, I felt cheated, right? We see literally the Hangover. It's in the name, but I thought it was disappointing. I was like, oh, they're not going to show it. I felt kind of ripped off. But because the screenplay was so good and it kept you guessing and it was a page turner and it made you want to know what happened last night. It like kind of like what's a blackout, like a blackout drunk. You're like, fuck, I can't remember what happened. That's what happened, In this case, these guys were roofied. I mean, The Hangover, everyone's seen this fucking movie. They get roofied. They roofie themselves or whatever. But yeah, it's like, what happens when you're that drunk? You can't remember. And this is literally like them, they don't remember anything. So they're trying to put together the pieces, the whole mystery of the night before. And classic fucking movie. I feel like a lot of people wanted this night. I kind of talked about Superbad, and a lot of people wanted that type of night too, right? Like, oh, the fucking, I don't know, proverbial fucking party night where everyone gets laid for the first time and fucking gets drunk and has a great night, right? That senior year night or whatever you want to call it. And The Hangover's kind of like that. You just be like, culturally, people used to want this Vegas night, this like hangover night. I partied so fucking hard. The Project X of fucking Vegas hangovers. And yeah, it's just funny how things have changed, But anyways, The Hangover is great. Really funny, really edgy. Hopefully comedy gets back to a place like that. And hopefully studios start financing something bigger and better like this. And they're just like fucking let people go off. Let them fuck around and just be out of control. That's what comedy needs. We ended up watching number 2 as well. 2 was great. It's a kind of just Hangover, literally part 2. They took the same script beats and made a similar story. And I don't know. I think Todd Phillips, once again, he nailed it. Admittedly, I've never seen the third Hangover. I'm going to watch it. I think it came out just at a point in my life when I was out and just not watching a lot of TV. And I heard it had middle of the road reviews. I won't say even bad, but I'm going to watch it. Maybe I'll throw that in next week's reviews. But Hangover 2 as well, very consistent with the first. Like the humor, outrageous. The plot was great. It keeps you guessing. And it's just so fucking funny. That group of guys, excellent casting. Galifianakis is so fucking funny alone. Bradley Cooper was fucking humorous. And like Ed Helms is like, I loved him as Andy in The Office, but he is just like, he's like the perfect innocent bitch, It's something about maybe it's his voice or who he is. And I don't even probably think he's like that in real life. It's just he plays that part so well. One other movie I watched while I was at the hotel, I watched a few movies, but like this is a movie like I literally like I threw it on casually and I was stuck to the screen, was Anger Management, Adam Sandler's movie. Adam Sandler, Jack Nicholson, Anger Management. Dude, Sandler movies are like, I don't know. They're like a fucking comfort blanket. They're just good. You throw them on, they feel good. You feel good. You're laughing, safe. You feel good when they're on. You feel safe and good, you know? And it's like sometimes Sandler gets bashed on. I don't know why. And I think I've defended him on here before. But like, you know, his movies are fucking great. Even if they are comedies, like it's his own brand. They're consistent to, you know, some extent. There's like not just a Sandler verse, but like a continuity between his films tonally, with the exceptions of some of his more artistic outings like Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems. And he's had other things like Rain Over Me. He's a very fucking good actor. He's so fucking diverse. And I don't know, I think he's not underrated. Obviously everybody loves fucking Adam Sandler, but he's got something else going on. He's a very interesting guy. And I think he makes really good choices creatively. Even some of his comedy specials are so bizarre, but good. And I don't know, but Anger Management, I watched this movie a million times as a kid. This is 1,000,001 watching it at the hotel. Still so fucking funny. Jack Nicholson is absolutely crazy in this movie. I honestly feel like he was auditioning for fucking The Departed in this movie. He's out of his mind. Something about like Nicholson at that age. He's unhinged. He does not give a fuck. I wouldn't say he's past his like looks at this point. He's definitely like, he used to be like a handsome gentleman, right? And he's gotten a little thicker and older in these days. And like, he's got to be in his early mid 60s, you know, and he's just such a fucking, he just doesn't give a fuck. He's fearless on camera. And you can tell there's even parts where Adam Sandler wants to fucking buckle and laugh and just, it's so fucking good. And them together was amazing. It's a movie that I could watch anytime. I'd watch it again. Honestly, I feel bad Christine wasn't there. I don't know if she's seen Anger Management, but I was like, fuck, like, if you thought The Hangover was good, like, this is right there with it. Like, just humor-wise, just so fucking funny. And I don't know. It's kind of as nostalgic watching it, too. Especially because, like, this week was, like, funky. It was, like, a laid back, I'm taking a break from, like, my regular routine in life. And throwing on something like this, I really had the time, I guess, to just watch it and be like, wow, I really love this movie. It's just fucking hilarious. So anyways, Anger Management, that was a really fun one. You know, something I didn't talk about, which I should have mentioned earlier in the pod, was this past week I did the first interview on Unscripted number 40. I'll talk about that for a minute. Yeah, so I had my buddy Ramez over, Burberry Rem, and he's one of the first people to reach out to be on the pod. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, man. If you want to be on it, I'd be honored to have you. And I think it ended up turning out to be a great conversation. And loved it. Ramez, thank you again for coming. Hopefully you guys went and checked out his music as Burberry Rem. But yeah, I thought it went great. It had great viewership too. So if you guys watched it, thank you so much. It's a humble 80 views right now, but like, look at it, dude. This is the way I look at views and all that shit. Yeah, like, look, I get this ain't Theo Vaughn yet, but 80 views, if I had 80 people showing up in a room to hear me do this, I'd be fucking happy and I'd be proud. And even if it was fucking 10 people, I'd be happy and proud. But thank you. And for all the new subs, all the people following my Instagram or YouTube, any of my socials, just thank you. You know, it means a lot. I see it. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can continue the conversation and this thing will grow organically, grassroots together. And yeah, a lot of new and great conversations to come down the pipeline as well. I've got some friends that want to be on the show, a lot of friends, but yeah, I just got to fucking set it up. I was out of town. That was a kind of a little roadblock for like getting another one in, but the weekend's coming up. I have some buddies that are musicians that might want to hop on, and I won't just be doing musicians for the record. That was just, there's a lot of musicians out there that are talented and need to be spotlighted, and we need to get some daylight on some of our young talent out there playing music. So yeah, on that note though, the interview was a hit. I think it was great having Stevie too in there as a co-host, to kind of like, buffer and ask questions. We were already all talking initially, right? And I don't know if he'll be on every single one as an interviewer, but for this case, I was like, you know what, this makes sense. Like, we had a little technical difficulty with his microphone, but aside from that, like, I think it helped with the pace of the conversations, a little more inside, our fucking conversations about like the way we produced it. But yeah, and I was like, I don't know, I think it was helpful just having somebody else there to like kind of be like, oh, let's all talk and just chop it up and see what happens, and I tried to keep it on point with like the interview questions, but like I let the interview morph into just a conversation. I think that's kind of like what I'm like looking to do here, is let this thing kind of just be natural. I keep saying like, oh, maybe like Joe Rogan-esque, but like, we're not, it doesn't have to be that. It'd be whatever it's going to be. And I really liked how it turned out. The color grade was cool too. The shot was cool. I was going to do 3 cameras. And I remember it was a fiasco. We were trying to set it up. I'm like, fuck it, dude. Let's just do the one angle. Let's compromise a little just to make the thing. And no regrets. I'm so glad we got it out and got it done. And also, like, there was a little bit on my end, like, I don't like limiting beliefs. I don't like making your mind a prison of your own beliefs. I think that's terrible to do. And it can really, like, some people can get really caught up in that, right? So for me, I was like, look, do this fucking interview and get through it so you can keep doing them. And it's like as simple as that. It's just kind of like through the fire and flames, and I was nervous to do it. If I'm being honest, I was a little uncomfortable to do it initially, but I said, I'm gonna be vulnerable and just like, let's just let it ride. And I love it. I've listened to it a few times myself, and in a non-egotistical way, I do listen to the podcast. I listen back, and it's probably weird, but like, just like you guys, like when I hear the podcast, sometimes I'm just a listener, even when I'm doing this right now, I'm the passenger, just, letting this shit happen. So anyways, guys, it's been a long fucking night. Wow, we're almost to an hour. Should I do 10 more? No, I'm kidding. I'll let you guys go. Had a crazy week in LA. I think it's really opened all of our eyes that like LA may be where we're headed back to. It won't be overnight, like I said, but 2026, that might be where you're seeing this podcast from. So anyways, guys, I'm Devin Thomas. This has been another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week.